So let's go through the homework solutions from yesterday's homework, and these were area questions where surds were involved, and these are very similar to the types of questions that tend to come up in exams. So for question 11, there was a diagram of a rectangle. On one side of the rectangle was the square root of 5 units long, and the other side was the square root of 2. And we were asked to find the area of the rectangle in the form the square root of k, where k is a natural number. And you could use your calculator to help you with this as well. So the area, of course, is the length multiplied by the width. So the area is going to be the square root of 2 multiplied by the square root of 5. You can use your calculator, but you should know that that's the same as the square root of 2 by 5, which is the square root of 10 units squared. It's a pity they didn't say centimeters or meters, so we'll just write it like that. And that's the solution there. That was for part A. Part B said the perimeter of the rectangle is equal to A times the square root of 5 plus the square root of 2. So it's written like that, and they want us to find the value of A. So it looks confusing, but it's actually not difficult to do at all, because we know that perimeter is the length plus the width plus the length plus the width, going round like that. So the perimeter is the length plus the width multiplied by 2. So of course in this case that is 2 times root 5 plus root 2, and that means the value of A is equal to 2. And that's the answer that we were looking for. Not difficult maths, but the way the question was phrased might have been a bit confusing, which is why I wanted you to practice with that. Now, question 12. We were given a triangle like this, and we know that the length of the base is the square root of 2, and that the perpendicular height is the square root of 8. And we're asked to show that the area is a rational number. So if the area is rational, it means it won't have a square root in it. It means it can be written as a fraction. Doesn't mean you have to write it as a fraction. No square root in it, okay? Of course, the area of a triangle is a half the base multiplied by the perpendicular height. So that's going to be a half by the square root of 2 multiplied by the square root of 8. And you can use your calculator to help you, but you know that you can just multiply those two numbers together and put the square root sign over them. So that's the square root of 16. And of course, we know that the square root of 16 is 4. It's a half of 4, 2 units squared, which is rational, because we can write it as 4 over 2, 2 over 1, 16 over 8, anything like that. And finally, question 13. Again, they gave us a diagram. We have a right-angled triangle, 5, 5, and x. And they want us to calculate the value of x. So if you remember from when we did area and volume, in a right-angled triangle, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. And that is Pythagoras' theorem. So that comes up an awful lot actually in all areas of maths. So we can say that the hypotenuse in this case is x. So x squared will be 5 squared plus 5 squared, which is 25 plus 25, which is 50. And then we can calculate the value of x. This is for part A. The value of x is the square root of 50. And you can put that into your calculator and it will change it to 5 root 2. Or we remember that that's the square root of 25 by the square root of 2. X is 5 times the square root of 2. Part B, for part B we have a different triangle, but it's also right angled. This time the missing side is not the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse squared is equal to the other two sides squared and added together. Sorry, I've gone off the screen. Okay, so here's the triangle for part B, and this time it's not the hypotenuse that's missing, it's the other side. So we can say that 6 squared, 36, minus 2 squared is equal to y squared. So 36 take 4 is 32, and then square rooting it, y is the square root of 32. We can use our calculator to help us, or notice that that is the square root of 16 by the square root of 2. So y is equal to 4 root 2. That's the answer to part B. Now, part C, we're given a rectangle. We don't know the values of the sides, but we know that the top length here is x, and the height there is y. And they also want us to use the values that we had for x and y in the previous answer. So this was 5 root 2, and this was 4 root 2. So we needed to be able to do that in order to write down the rest of this question. It's a rectangle. They ask us to write the perimeter of this rectangle. Now, from the previous question, we know that perimeter is twice the length plus the width. So that's going to be twice the length, 5 root 2, plus the width. It doesn't matter which one you call the length and which one you call the width. These are like terms. Remember yesterday we talked about when the radical is the same, we can add those numbers together. So that's 2, 5 plus 4 is 9, by 9 root 2. And then I can multiply this out. Use your calculator to help you if you're not sure what to do. This is 3 numbers multiplied together. So all I have to do is multiply the 2 by the 9. 18 root 2 is my perimeter. So they wanted us to write the perimeter in the form a root 2, which we've done there, a being 18. Okay, so that was part 1. Part 2, they want us to find the area of the rectangle, and area, of course, is just length by width, like that. So if you put that into your calculator and multiply them together, we've got 5 times 4, which gives us 20, root 2 by root 2, which is the square root of 4, and that is 20 by 2, or 40 units squared. Again, if you're not sure, use the calculator to help you at each step. And the third part of the question, use Pythagoras' theorem to find the length of the diagonal. That's my hypotenuse there of a right angled triangle. So if I have just drawing the top triangle like this, 5 root 2 is one side, 4 root 2 is another side, and we're looking for the hypotenuse. So h squared is equal to 4 root 2 squared plus 5 root 2 squared. And you can use your calculator to work those out, or we realize that that's 32 and that that's 50 from the previous work that we did. So h squared is equal to 82, and h is the square root of 82. Now, I can't tell if a perfect square goes into that or not, so I'm going to cheat. It's not even cheating. I'm going to be sensible about it and use my calculator, the square root of 82, and see if it simplifies, and it doesn't simplify. So that's it, that's my answer. So the length of the diagonal is the square root of 82 units, and we are leaving that in surd form, which means we leave the square root in our answer. Oh, actually they asked for it to 2 decimal places. So we just press the change button, 9.055 or 9.06. 9.06. I always check when I'm finished a question about the format that they want the answer to be in. And there we go, that's it. Okay, thank you.